Much has been written and much has been memorialized about George Washington, but very few know about his siblings and family, 6 brothers and 3 sisters. This is the story of Samuel Washington, George's eldest younger brother. The first of the Washingtons to settle in America was John Washington. He arrived in the Northern Neck region of Virginia in 1659 and established a small farm at Bridges Creek.
The very first Washington to immigrate to the colonies was Colonel John Washington. He came here on a boat.
Over the next few years, the political tensions with the mother country would grow even more malignant. It was during these times that Sam Washington began making plans to establish a new home on his property at Evetts Marsh in Frederick County. The home was finished sometime around 1770 and became known as Harewood.
We're standing today in Jefferson County, West Virginia, but at the time that Samuel Washington came here, this was Frederick County, Virginia. This was the frontier of Virginia in 1770, west of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Samuel had inherited the property that he built on from his half-brother Lawrence. Lawrence had purchased 1,600 acres in the summer of 1750, land that was surveyed by his youngest half-brother, the General Washington, who at the time was a surveyor for Lord Fairfax.
The long struggle for independence raged on for 7 years. But in the fall of 1781, the Continental Army and their French allies tipped the scales of fate by defeating and capturing a large British army along the York River, effectively ending the war. Most likely, Sam never learned of his country's incredible victory. Lord Cornwallis surrendered his army to General Washington at Yorktown, Virginia, on October 17, 1781. Samuel Washington made his last will and testament on September 9th of the same year and died shortly after. Today, the handsome features of Harewood still looms tall among a grove of hardwoods, just as it has since the turbulent days of Revolution. Today it is occupied by Walter Washington, a 7th-generation descendant of Samuel.
My parents started to restore Harewood in the early 1950s. We were living in Washington, D.C. at the time, which is about an hour and a half away.